I'm very aware that I look like I just woke up, mainly because I did, um, laying in bed reading a OSHA document, the Material Safety Data Sheet. Now, apparently, for federal employees, if you decide not to um, be injected, that's kind of annoying. I've got a hair sticking straight out. If you decide that you do not want to get an injection, you have the option of daily testing. So if it's not invasive enough to be forced into receiving something that I believe is not tested enough, has not been through the proper procedures and approved. By the way, this is Donald Trump's vaccine. This is his name. His name's on the document. It's not the Joe Biden vaccine. It's the Donald Trump vaccine. Operation Warp Speed pushed it through, and as I recall, Pepperidge Farm remembers that several politicians said that they would absolutely never take anything that Donald Trump approved. But magically, the day former Vice President Joe Biden uh, won the election, it changed chemical compounds inside the warehouse, and it is no longer the Donald Trump vaccine. They changed the label, and now it's the Joe Biden vaccine. Even though this chemical compound has probably been sitting in the warehouse for several years, that's how logistics work. So if you decide not to take the the needle, the mark, if you decide not to uh, take this forced mandated chemical, not nearly tested enough, that could possibly, we've seen videos of people just falling over dead from allergic reactions, or maybe that was the what they wanted to happen all along. It's just a bunch of people die or become sterile or whatever. And, different people have different reactions to things. And uh, I'm allergic to penicillin. I don't want some new thing injected into me uh, under under false pretenses. I don't know what my allergic reaction would be. Uh, I'm afraid. I am pretty ridiculously afraid of what could possibly be in it. I almost died in boot camp because I didn't know I was allergic to penicillin, and they gave me a penicillin injection. And 2 days later, when I woke up, they told me, "Don't ever do that again, you idiot." So I don't know what was in it. I didn't read the insert. There could be something in any vaccine that would cause me to pass out, fall over dead, be sterile, or have some kind of brain injury. So I'm paranoid enough, and rightfully so. But so the alternative for federal employees, as I've read, is to option one, take it. Option two, don't take it and get fired. Option three is get daily testing. And I found out that the testing swabs being used for COVID-19 are covered in ethylene oxide. And I look up the material safety data sheet. By OSHA standards, standard number uh, 1910.1047, application A, substance safety data sheet for ethylene oxide. Part number 1910, part number title, occupational safety and health standards. Subpart, this is going to be boring. 1910 subpart Z, subpart title, toxic and hazardous substance. So why would they cover something that's going to be shoved up your nose in a toxic substance? Oh yeah, and by the way, these things are manufactured in China, I'm sure. Title, substance safety data sheet for ethylene oxide. Substance identification, substance ethylene oxide, the chemical symbol C2H4O. Synonyms, dihydroxylene, I'm not going to pronounce that. Ethylene oxide can be found as a liquid or vapor. ETO is used in the manufacture of ethylene glycol, I'm not going to pronounce that. ETO is also used as a sterilant and fumigant. Appearance and odor, colorless liquid below 10.7 Celsius, colorless gas with ether-like odor detected at approximately 700 parts ETO per million parts of air, 700 ppm. Permissible exposure. Exposure may not exceed 1 part ETO per million parts of air averaged over the 8-hour workday. Health hazard data. Ethylene oxide can cause bodily harm if you inhale the vapor, if it comes into contact with your eyes, skin, or if you swallow it. Effects of overexposure. Now, I assume overexposure means like daily type of stuff. If you're going to be required to have this shoved up into your sinus cavity where it cannot be scrubbed out. This is like in the back of your throat. They're testing for brain matter. Ethylene oxide in liquid form can cause eye irritation and injury to the cornea, frostbite, and severe irritation and blistering of the skin upon prolonged and confined contact. Is prolonged exposure once daily for 3 years, 2 months, a week, however long this mandate is supposed to last? Ingestion of ETO can cause gastric irritation and liver injury. Acute effects from inhalation of ETO vapors include respiratory irritation and lung injury, headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, shortness of breath, and cyanosis, blue or purple coloring of skin. Exposure has also been associated with the occurrence of cancer. Reproductive effects, mutagenic changes, neurotoxicity, and sensitization. ETO has been shown to cause cancer in laboratory animals and has been associated with higher incidence of cancer in humans. Adverse reproductive effects and chromosome damage may also occur from ETO exposure. Reporting signs and symptoms. You should inform your employer if you develop any signs or symptoms and suspect that they are caused by ETO exposure. Emergency first aid procedures. Eye exposure. If ETO gets in your eyes, wash your eyes immediately with large amounts of water, lifting the lower and upper eyelids. Well, what if it gets into your sinus cavities? How are you supposed to scrub that out? That's next to your brain. Get medical attention immediately. Contact lenses should not be worn when working with this chemical. Skin exposure. If ETO gets on your skin, immediately wash the contaminated skin with water. If ETO soaks through your clothing, especially your shoes, remove the clothing immediately and wash the skin with water using an emergency deluge shower. Get medical attention immediately throughout. Thoroughly wash contaminated clothing before reusing. Contaminated leather, shoes, or other leather articles should not be reused and should be discarded. Inhalation. If large amounts of ETO are inhaled, the exposed person must be moved to fresh air at once. If breathing has stopped, perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation. And they're going to shove this up my nose daily? They're going to shove this up of everybody's nose daily? Keep the affected person warm and at rest. Get medical attention immediately. Swallowing when ETO has been swallowed. Okay, it's in the back of your throat. It's going to be swallowed. When ETO has been swallowed, give this person large quantities of water immediately. After the water has been swallowed, try to get the person to vomit by having him or her touch the back of the throat with his or her finger. Do not make an unconscious person vomit. Get medical attention immediately. Rescue. Move the affected person from the hazardous exposure. If the exposed person has been overcome, attempt rescue only after notifying at least one other person of the emergency and putting into effect established emergency procedures. Do not become a casualty yourself. Understand your emergency rescue procedures and know the location of the emergency equipment before the need arises. And this page goes on to explain you should wear respirators and protective clothing while doing, not just a cloth mask. You should wear protective clothing, hazmat suit, rubber gloves. There's pretty much no safe storage unless you're in a hermetically sealed area. Don't get it on you, don't get it in you. Wow. Sterilant use of ETO in hospitals and healthcare facilities. Wow. And this is going to be, this is on a cotton swab that's shoved directly into the back of your throat. Who thought this was a good idea? And if somebody came up with it and said it was a good idea, that's Joseph Mengele level of evil.